contest for America's X Cup is scheduled for one fall. About to make his way to the ring from Winnipeg, Manitoba. This is Hot Shot Johnny Devine. The concern of Scott D'Amore and the other members of Team Canada over the Teddy Hart knee injury is quite evident. Think of the pressure on Johnny Devine, his TNA debut, his worldwide television debut, and his team captain is injured. Let's see how hotshot Johnny Devine reacts in what looks to be a very pressure-filled situation. And his opponent representing Team AAA, this is Abismo, Negro. When he appeared in last month's America's X Cup, we mentioned that Abismo Negro, in English the Black Abyss, was probably the least known of the 4 AAA wrestlers to fans outside of Mexico. But in one night, he became very recognizable. He defeated Felix Skipper, and then he joined Juventud Guerrera in the second-round tag team win when they beat Jerry Lynn and Sanjay Dutton. Don, that's a pretty impressive resume.
Oh, you better believe it. Well, the entire resume of Team AAA Mexico is impressive. What's impressing me, though, is how it's not psyching out Team Canada. Johnny Devine, you mentioned it, has got so much pressure on him right now. How serious is the injury to Teddy Hart? What is it going to mean? I was just thinking about it, though, Mike. No matter what, you've got a tag team matches next, and then, of course, the 8-man tag, so they can wrestle with Teddy Hart. This tournament will go on. He's just going to be limited, probably, to the action that he's going to have. It is very important that Team Canada can get him some points early on.
Don, I know what you mean. I realize that it's difficult to label. A first-round match is crucial, but I think when you factor in the Hart knee injury, this could be a bout that severely affects the momentum of this America's X Cup event.
I will say this match has started a little bit faster than the other two. The other two, they each kind of sized each other up. There's no time for that now. The emotions are running high. Team Canada is feeling the effects of what's going on with their leader, their captain. And Team AAA is tied up.
Quick pin attempt here by Abismo Negro. Johnny Devine able to roll the shoulders. And going to try and monkey flip him back to the ring. He tries to float over, but there's the leg scissors applied, the body scissors by Abismo Negro. Johnny Devine has 6 years of experience as a pro. It makes him among the most experienced members of Team Canada, but to be honest, he's really never competed at this level.
Oh, Abismo Negro, does he got him? No, look at him. Yes, he does.
Caught him with the arm drag. You know, Don, we often talk about familiarity with your opponent, and it plays such a big role in determining the outcome of a match. Well, this bout, like 2 of the other first-round singles, feature wrestlers that have never faced each other before. I think that you can play to your strengths and not necessarily have to worry about varying your offensive attack.
I'll tell you what I noticed right there, which shows you, oh, great move by Johnny Devine. Trying to get Negro to tap out here, but just a great move. He took advantage of it. Look at this again.
I think we should remind everyone that not only did Johnny Devine train at the famous Hart Dungeon in Calgary, but also trained by a former wrestler, Bad News Alan Coage, who was an Olympic medalist in judo. Quite a varied background when it comes to training for hotshot Johnny Devine.
You can see it right there. You can see it. Using the moves, keeping them grounded. And here he goes. A lot of people think that judo is a lot like karate or kung fu. It's not. It's a very much of a wrestling type martial art, and you can see how he used that right there to his advantage.
You know, when I asked Johnny Devine about the reputation of the Hart Dungeon, you know what he told me? He said, I was in the Canadian infantry. I was a marathon runner in the military, but nothing compares to the physical grind of the Hart Dungeon. It was the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. That'll tell you about the wrestling training at the Hart Dungeon in Calgary, Alberta.
What's he doing here? Holding out the hand? I mean, earlier the Abismo Negro showed him some respect when Johnny Devine was catching his breath and holding his hand up.
You don't think Abismo Negro is going to fall for this? 13-plus years as a pro?
He did.
Johnny Devine connects and measures him again and drops him with the right hand.
Caught him flush on the mask there. You can see Johnny Devine shaking his hand. Obviously, you realize the consequences when you do that. But Johnny Devine showing some unbelievable athleticism, and there it is.
It goes for the cover, far legs, hook, no. Just a 2 count from referee Mike Posey.
I mean, when you watch Johnny Devine like this, he's the type of wrestler that you feel like you could be watching in the NCAA championships with Iowa and Iowa State and those kind of things. He really can do it all. He can have the ground game, and we'll see if he can do the high-flying acts that the X Division members do.
Abismo Negro in trouble at this point as you see that slingshot move by Devine. Over the top rope, crashing down with the leg extended and connecting across the throat and neck of Negro. In for the cover. 2 and no. Kick out.
Johnny Devine, very impressive, Mike. Abismo Negro came out early on, kind of dominated. Devine just sized him up, and once he got the advantage, he's held on to it, but Negro right there taking advantage.
Headbutt on the outside.
Got it.
Cross-body balls off the top. Look at Johnny Devine just counter and reverse it.
Man, that was something right there. Just, he let Abismo Negro think he had him, and then shut him over and almost got the quick pin.
Duck of the clothesline. Off the ropes goes Abismo Negro. Devine shoots him right out to the floor. Is he going to fly?
Oh, he goes through, but Negro was waiting for it, man.
One step ahead of him, Abismo Negro. Now,
he goes through.
Connected perfectly. The tope suicida, the suicide dive, and that one was delivered perfectly by Abismo Negro.
I tell you what I like. He didn't take the extra second and go over the top rope. He made the the distance shorter by going in a straight line right through the ropes.
They fight it out on the apron. Abismo Negro comes back in, connects with the arm drag. Elevated to the top.
Oh, look at
this.
this.
Roll through.
Oh,
Can he get it?
man,
1, 2. No. Kick out by Devine.
I'll tell you what, this has been a much more technical type of a wrestling match, has it not, Mike?
Much more technically oriented. You are right. And in the corner of Abismo Negro connects.
Oh.
The open hand slash to the chest. Johnny Devine springs up and over the top from the ring apron. Caught him with the elbow.
Oh, look at this.
Does he got it? Got the leg hook too.
Yes.
He got it. What a huge win for Team Canada.